Let's hit it, baby.
Let's hit it.
Guys, welcome to the show. Today we have Ashton Buswell. Dude,
What's
thank you for joining us today, man.
You got it, man. Happy to be here.
Texted me last minute saying, Nick, I'm flying out. We're finally going to knock this out.
Let's do it.
And we're here. We're here. We had to move our schedules around, but we're doing it. Okay, so guys, Ashton, he is so first thing I'll say about him, he's 42 years old. He's a dad, 4 kids. He lives out of San Diego. He's been married 18 years. I've seen this guy on social media. I've seen him on my mastermind, and I've seen his stats and his numbers. He is the real deal, okay? But what I love about him, I think he has a superpower for, I hate the word balance, but in a sense, you do. You know how to accomplish success, not just in sales, but in other areas of your life.
Yeah.
And I love where those two come together. Just breaking down the success of like an overachiever, So, okay, let me give you some of this guy's stats, guys, okay? 22 solar deals closed in a day, okay?
It was a good day.
you heard me right. So what most top guys do in like a month and what most reps do in half a year, he did in a day, okay? And that week, he also did 46. So it's not like he was just sandbagging these, okay? Yeah. He's like a lot of DocuSign. I can't wait to ask you about that.
Let's talk about it.
What that's like. Yeah, definitely competition there, right?
Yeah.
We love it. Okay, he's a VP of sales at Legacy. Okay, he's been there 10 years, which I admire. His whole experience in solar, he's been with the same company, so he's a loyal guy.
Well, I had 8 months not there. Okay. My first 8 months was somewhere else.
Yeah, but 90%, 95. Yeah. He's done 64 deals in a month, 16 self-gen in a day, 149 deals in a quarter, and his biggest years making about 1.1 million a year in earnings. Okay. So this guy knows what he's talking about. And he's almost at 1,000 personal installs. Correct?
Almost, man. Yeah. I'm knocking on the door. I just want to get there fast. I'm almost there.
That's huge. Yeah. 975. Yeah. You got to go knock some in between.
Yeah. I'm actually getting out there a little more, cause I'm like, I just want to get this monkey off my back.
Yeah. Let's get you a deal here. And he's trained thousands of reps. Okay. Legacy, you guys have thousands there, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So dude, welcome to the show. What an honor.
Thanks, man.
Happy to have you on.
It's my honor. I want to give you some praise. You just gave me this introduction, a nice introduction. I've been anxious to get on your podcast because of who you are. Not necessarily because of the podcast. I've listened to some podcasts and stuff, but mostly who you are. You're an incredible sales guy.
Thanks, man.
Like, you're a better sales guy than me.
Oh, stop.
And I'm happy to admit it. But I like being around guys that are really good at what they do.
Yeah.
And passionate about what they do.
Yeah.
And want to do good for other people. And that's who you are.
Thanks,
and
man.
So that's why I wanted to make sure we made this happen.
Thanks, Ashton. Well, we align culturally in a lot of ways, and dude, I want to talk about what's behind your engine for you. That's one of the first things I want to ask you. Like, to operate at that level, what fueled you to go do that stuff? Is there a story behind it? Like, what's the deal?
Dude, I mean, a few things, like, and it's probably going to be like, really, that's it. But everybody has different reasons for doing things, right?
Absolutely.
One of my main reasons is I love to win. Like, I'm a winner.
Yep.
And I guess I should be cautious saying I'm a winner. Like, I'm something special, but at my heart and at my core, I believe I'm a champion. And I want to be a champion everywhere. I want to be a champion in all the aspects of my life. I don't want to be a one-trick pony and just a champion in sales. I want to be a champion dad and a champion husband and a champion follower of Christ and a champion friend.
Wrestler too.
You're a champion wrestler.
Literally going for world championships.
Yeah, I'm wrestling in the world championships for old guys in October. Let's go. And I want to be a champion. So I wrestled in high school and college. I played football. You may not believe this because I'm only 5'7" 3/4", but
DB.
As a senior in high school, I was the MVP of the state of Utah for football.
No way.
Yeah.
What position? DB?
Outside linebacker. And running back. And I actually shared it. Cameron Jensen, stud of a human, played for Bountiful, went on to play pros, was a legit football size guy, 6'4", 200 and huge. Right. Yeah. He was an MVP for one newspaper and I was MVP for the other. And we were first team All-State. But my mentality is like, I always want to win and I always want to win. And I also want to get better. I think the best guys in sales and in life are guys that work their guts out and are good. Lots of times you'll have guys that are good at whatever.
Yeah.
And they can kind of rest on that.
Yep.
Like, hey, when I go to a deal, I sit down and I close it. I only need to close like 4 deals and I'm good.
And they're satisfied. Yeah.
And they're satisfied.
Yep.
And then you got other guys that aren't that good and they just hustle their guts out and they make up for it because they hustle their guts out. And I'd like to say I'm a little blend of both.
Yeah.
Right. Where I hustle my guts out. And I actually, like I admitted to you, you're a better sales guy than me. And I'm okay with that. But I work my guts out to make up for some of the difference. And I have some skill. Right. And when you can combine those two things, then there's some difference. But I'm off topic. You asked what's the drive, and it's winning.
No, this is all on topic. Yeah.
And being a champion, like thriving, also understanding and knowing that I'm not there, and I never want to feel like I've made it.
Like you've made it, yeah.
Or that I'm there.
Yeah. I think once you feel like you've made it, you start coasting and you're going down.
Yeah.
They're like the joy comes from progress.
Right.
You know, if you look at Olympic athletes, they win everything, you know, they get gold medal, but then they stop and then they're depressed.
Yep.
It's the pursuit of excellence. It's the pursuit of something difficult that brings the fulfillment.
Yeah.
You know?
Agreed. Do you want to hear something crazy?
Let's hear it.
From what you just said. I won a Tesla with Legacy. They did a sales competition, one-on-one competition. It was a 2-month long competition. I basically didn't sleep for 2 months. First month was August, was like a pool play. You're kind of in your pool like soccer, and then you got to get out of that to go into March Madness.
Okay.
And you're going head to head against brackets against people across the country and double elimination. And it was like really intricate and really massive. And I wanted to win ultimately. I wanted to win the Tesla, but I wanted to win because if I won, that meant I was the best.
Mm.
And everybody was going to give their best. It wasn't like people were going to be like, I don't really want to go for this incentive. Yeah. Like, whatever, dude. Yeah. They're giving away a Tesla, you know? So I wanted to win because I wanted to prove to me and to others that I was the best.
Yep.
Anyway, I went and won this Tesla. The last day, it was all self-gen, no setters. The last day I signed 16 deals in one day.
Nuts.
Crushed it, right? I sold, how many did I sell over that? I sold 36 over a 7-day span, all self-gen.
Crazy.
And this was years
36.
ago, right? So I wasn't as good as I am now or whatever. This was like 2018 or something, or even earlier. I can't remember. But anyway, I crushed it. And then within 2 weeks, I said to my wife, I don't know if I got it anymore. I don't know if I should do this.
Huh.
She was like, what? I was like, no one's buying from me anymore. Like, I think I lost it. I think I lost my touch. She was like, are you crazy? You just set records.
Yeah.
You are incredible at this. But I went through I took my foot off the gas and I got really high with my highs, right? Yeah. I got really up there with and it's hard not to get up there if you just want a Tesla.
Yeah.
Right. But I came so down and I didn't keep that progress. Mm-hmm. I kind of was, and then I also was like, I got to get these deals to install. If they don't get installed, I don't get the Tesla. Right. So I was spending time like making sure that deals were going through and I wasn't on the progression train.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks, I felt like I sucked.
Wild.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy that level can still get to you.
Yeah.
Know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. I always talk about like goals versus expectations. It's when you set your expectations too high. And sometimes success, like if we start winning, we get deals. Like if we adjust our mentality to that of, you know, like, hey, it's okay to keep believing I'm going to do well. But sometimes when it doesn't go well and you don't have the right expectation, you tee yourself up for failure because you get in your head.
For sure.
And it can happen to anybody.
So
I always talk about getting level-headed. There's no solar coaster for me. It's just put in, and you put in X, you get out Y result.
Yeah. Yeah. Inputs.
Yeah.
If your goals are around the inputs, then you always win.
Bingo. Well, we align there, brother.
Yeah. And actually, if your goals and your actions are around the inputs.
Yes. Well said.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have good goals, but you're not doing anything about
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be on that coaster for sure.
From all my coaching experience and like my sales experience, dude, you say I'm a better salesman than you, but your stats are better than mine. So therefore you are better. Even if your persuasive skill or ability is half mine, you're about 10x what I am. So it's all back to stats for me, bro. So
sure.
You've got the crown.
Thanks.
So yeah, it's inputs, doors, knock, decision makers. Like if you focus on those, the beauty of it is that's in your control.
Right.
And so there's no question. Am I going to hit this many people, talk to? Am I going to knock that many? Am I going to sit down with this many homeowners, make this many follow-up calls? Like that's in your control.
Yep.
And so there's no inconsistency there. It's just you plug in, you do it, you show up, right? And I'm like, okay, if I want to set 3, I'm not going to say I'm going to talk to less people. I'm going to increase that. So I would normally statistically sell 5 or 6 or set 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
And then you end up doing better because you take that pressure off.
Right.
So
yeah, and when you can focus on that too, the pressure part, you can focus on the things that you can control. But it's really hard to not compare to other people.
Yeah, it is.
Right? I see you out crushing it. I see somebody else out crushing it, and I'm like, I must suck.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, dude.
Right.
Like, what do you do? Well, I actually can't even control if people buy. I'm not bringing a gun or a knife to any of my closes, right? Like sign right now. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So I legit can't control what that person decides to do today, but I can beat on my craft, and I can just get in front of enough people. And I know you've had Jeremy Miner on your podcast, stud of a guy. I really like Jeremy, and he does a lot of good things. One of the things I think he says mostly to catch people's attention, like a good hook, is it's not a numbers game. It's an education game, right? And
it's both. Sorry, Jeremy. Love you.
But it's both.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm really, really good, but I only have one opportunity and I close that one opportunity, then that's amazing. But if I'm not as good and I have 20 opportunities, I'm probably going to close more deals,
Yeah.
Just because
my
effort.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a matrix I've designed. There's 3 things that drive sales: increase education, close rate, increase effort, number of people talk to. And then there's an outlier that's increase your efficiencies, just anything that would save your time to increase both
of those
2. And increasing your close rate is just sales training and also work and teaching people, training others. But then effort is just, what are you putting in, and one of the things you started with was, dude, you outwork people, you out hustle. And that is always, from everybody I've interviewed, all like my track record too, it's the determination that you may beat me here, you may beat me there, but you won't beat me with work. Right. And so, but when you have that mindset, everything else catches up. The skill catches up as well.
Yeah. Because you have enough at bats.
Yeah.
If you swing the bat enough, you're going to get good at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, what you said, I love that. I connect with you on the fact that, you're not there to close everybody, I'm, some people may take this the wrong way, but I'm not a fan of the master closer seminar that Andy Elliott used to run. I hate just the whole like stigma with that, that like you're there to close people no matter what, like that's your job. I walk away from deals all the time. And in our industry, you have to. Yeah. You have to. And it comes back and blesses you tenfold. I've seen that. But there's also a power here. I was talking to our team about it of leverage. He who doesn't need the deal, and outside of solar sales in general, if you don't need something with someone, you have leverage over the other person. And so literally walking
as your customer, you need this more than I need this.
Yeah. Thinking of what's in it for them, not you. You make $5,000, whatever it is per deal. What's the net worth change for them? Home equity, whether it's home equity, savings, long-term savings, tax credits, depreciation of the solar, like that's the benefit for them. If you stack it side by side, it's much bigger. So why are you getting worked up over your commission, having commission breath? When you focus on them, you'll feel emotions like remorse. And if they shut you down, you're like, dude, don't say sorry to me. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. And leaning out, it's just how psychology works. They lean in more.
Yeah. 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 That's a powerful tool. Yeah. If you go into it, and I go into every deal, like expecting and that I can close it. Like I don't go to a deal if I'm not planning on closing the deal. Yeah. Right. So that's my mental frame. Okay. That's also not realistic.
Right. So how does that
work?
But
the best performers in the world, Steph Curry, when he shoots the ball,
they see it, they imagine it going.
He doesn't think there's a chance this won't go in. Yeah. He's expecting it's going in every time, but that's also not realistic. Yeah. So I was listening to a book called The Confident Mind by Dr. Zinzer. I'm in the middle of it right now. And he brings up Steph Curry, how he has, and they call it the shooter's dilemma, as how he phrased it, that every shot I take, I'm actually expecting it to go in, but I also know that it's not going to go in, but every time I'm going to expect that it goes in. And when you approach it that way, right? Yeah. Every deal I go to, it's not like I'm like, I'm going to go to this deal, but probably plan on walking away. No. Yeah. Like I'm going to go to this deal and I'm going to try to close this deal. And if it's in the best service of the customer,
there you go.
And I can actually help them. Yeah. Then I'm in. Yep. Right. And so that's what we're going to go find out. But every time I go in, I'm trying to have that mentality. But if you can go back to what you'd said, if you can go in with the thought of, you need this more than I need this,
yeah,
then that leverage is, you're looking at it from their point of view. Here, I'm here for you. We're on the same team.
Yeah.
Let's just make sure this works. Because if it doesn't work, then I'm out. We're good.
Yep.
Because we're on the same team.
Yeah.
If you were my mom or my grandma, I'm not going to put my grandma in a bad spot.
Yep.
So I'm out.
Dude,
but my guess is that this is the reason I'm here today, is because I actually think it's probably going to be pretty good for you.
Yeah.
So let's make sure that you understand. I help you understand what I think is so good for you, and it's going to be a real big bummer for you if it doesn't work out.
I love that,
because you've got all these things that I'll tell you about, right? But if you're right, I'm going in, I'm trying to close it, but I'm also trying to close it if it's in the best interest of them.
I love that.
And as long as those align, then
yeah, I love
everybody wins.
That integrity aspect is huge for me, dude. So you're manifesting the deal from the get-go. You believe in it. I'm the same way
every time.
I love that. I'll actually go in. There's a superpower that nobody talks about, this phenomenon of momentum, where this confidence of like, it builds. Like if you go out in 2x somebody's work ethic, well, likely you'll 2x their sales. I've noticed personally, it's usually 3, 4, 5x because of momentum.
Yep.
And you walk in and dude, you're already crushing. Like you don't need extra money. We're already good. Cups filled, dude. Right. Anything else is just excess. That confidence is magnetic.
Yeah.
It's powerful. And people have their sales guard up to energy that's like, hey, I'm trying to convince you to do something. But when you walk in saying, hey, yeah, the program you're on sucks. What we do, it also sucks. But it might work out given these scenarios. I'm good either way. But let me tell you why it might be good if these things line up, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I've noticed.
Dude, momentum. You want to talk about how you do 22 in a day, or you do 46 in a week?
Yeah. Talk to me.
Momentum.
Yeah.
Right. And confidence. I talk about being confident as crap. I'm going in there and I'm crazy confident.
Yeah.
And I believe that, you know how people mirror, like when you're at the door with somebody or you're in the clothes with somebody, you're supposed to mirror them, right? Helps them feel more comfortable. You cross your legs. I cross my legs.
Right.
They fold your arms. You fold your arms. I believe the more confident person is the one that gets mirrored.
They mirror you.
They mirror you. So I bring them into me.
Yeah.
When I show up at their door, they're stepping into my office.
Yep.
I'm respected in my office. I respect people in my office. You come at me yelling, that's actually not what we do in my office.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you through my confidence that it doesn't faze me. And then I calm them down. I bring them into me, and then we have a conversation.
I love that.
Because this is my office, and I'm more confident than you right now because what I have is better than what you have. And I know that to my core.
Yep.
Believe it to my core. So let's have a conversation about it, and let's talk about it. And then when you know, and momentum is a hard thing to get, but man, once you get it, don't stop.
Don't stop. Yeah,
bro. Keep going. They always say the best time to get a sale is after you get a sale. That is so true.
Yep.
And when you start to stack up those things, then good things happen. You walk into the home. This is what you're supposed to do, Mr. Customer. And they feel it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not like a pushy thing at all. It's not like I'm here to push you into something that you shouldn't do, but like this guy, he believes this.
They feel the energy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're stacking that and you're asking for referrals, and they're giving you referrals because you're so confident that it was so good for them.
Yeah.
Dude, I should totally have my mom and my cousin do this.
Dude, people literally, like they say that people buy you. They buy you in the form of buying your confidence and conviction. I think there's two, confidence, and I think the superior one is conviction. And confidence comes from like having success and momentum. And there's definitely like tiers to it. And the biggest aspect is where you're working, you're out disciplining other people, and you're getting other results that other people aren't getting, but you don't let off the gas, as you said.
Yeah.
But then conviction adds another layer when you're like actually sold. I always wear the sold shirts.
Yeah.
It's because I have the conviction. It's like, hey, I can spend time training on sales and how to win people over, or I could sell myself on this product, and I can be the walking, talking billboard that just radiates the conviction. Right.
Yeah.
And, it can be a double-edged sword though, if you're just telling people like why you're so sold on it. I have this theory. It's called, tell me what you think about this, PGP, pain, gain, pullback. And it's because every time I give, I've caught on to like how I sell. I'm like, okay, this was working really well. Like what do I do? What I do? And you always talk about pain first because people don't have a desire to change.
Yeah.
And so
there's pain.
Start with the pain, build the pain, asking questions, help them feel it, tied into emotion. but then comes the gain. But then immediately, anytime after I give them like, okay, rate's going to locked in, or there's a payoff date, whatever it is, I instantly do pullbacks of like, oh, well, but we have to qualify, or cons of like, we got to put up panels on the roof, right? Or, hey, we got to do a loan, right? And so because the moment you build up good, benefit, I'm selling you, like the sales resistance is building. They're thinking, bro, what's the catch?
Yeah.
Easy. So you beat them to it, pull back, works very well.
I like it.
I don't know if you do the same thing or.
I like it. I'd have to think about my process. I don't know that people talk a lot about pullbacks, like behind the curtain of Ashton a little bit. I don't really do tons of pullbacks.
Yeah.
But maybe I do, and I just don't know that I do.
And we might be talking about like, you might do something similar, you know.
I might, yeah.
Like,
but people talk about it all the time, like, oh, I'm always pulling back. And the idea behind pullbacks, there's a couple ideas behind pullbacks.
Yeah, talk to me.
One, your pullback is more to bring him in a little bit of like getting him off the ledge of like sales resistance.
Correct. Yeah.
That's an amazing pullback.
Yeah.
The pullback that I don't like is, and I see people do this all of the time, and as many people as I can tell to stop doing this, is the pullback when they've already said yes. And then you pull back and you tell them that there's a potential that it's a no.
Huh.
So the idea behind it is to have the power frame.
Yeah.
I'm actually the one that's in control.
Yeah.
You're not in control right now.
Right.
I appreciate you, Mr. Customer. You're great. I know you want to do this, but I actually don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah.
After somebody has told you yes, you stop selling them.
Yep.
And you stop telling them there's a chance for no.
Absolutely.
I learned this selling satellite dishes. Once somebody told me yes, if I keep selling them, if I'm buying a car,
you're talking out of it.
Yeah. And a car, and I was like, yeah, I want this one. And the guy's like, great. And it's got this, and it's got that, and it's got this. And I'm like, I already told you yes. Yeah. What are you trying to hide?
Yeah.
It feels like trying to hide something because I already said yes, but you're still selling me. Right?
Yeah.
So when somebody says yes, and then there's maybe there's some things that you need to cover, right? If you haven't told them about the cancellation policy,
absolutely,
you need to do that, right? And that's not telling them that they can say no, but you need to inform them of everything that's going to be on your welcome call or your verification call that you did your job, right? But once somebody's told you yes, stop selling them, move on to we're getting this thing. And then where the power frame is somebody will sign somebody up. And if you do this isn't meant to be offensive in any way.
No.
Or other people that are on here, this isn't meant to be offensive. I think that sales guys are missing something. They may be planting a seed that they don't need to plant. And that is after they sign the deal, as they're walking out, they'll say something like, hopefully this works out.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see after the site audit happens. I don't know. And some say, I was on a training where a guy trained on this, and he said, because I want them wanting it, right? Like a girl, if you're a boy or girl and like you're chasing somebody, playing hard to get, like they want it so bad. And so they're anticipating, you want to leave them in anticipation. And I would beg to differ. And I'd say you're actually planting a seed that there's a chance that it could be no.
Yeah.
If I'm not signing this person up if it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
I've looked at the roof when I walked in. I looked at the electrical.
Yeah.
I've checked it out.
Yeah.
I'm signing this up with the intention that this thing, for my industry, is solar, right? That they're getting panels on their roof and that they're using electricity from the sun instead of using electricity from the coal-fired power plant, right?
Yeah.
So when I leave the house and I say, oh, we'll see, I don't know. Now I've planted a seed that's maybe a no. And they were already yes.
Yeah. It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. So anyway, that's a sales tip of the day from me. A little pet peeve of mine is when people do that. I don't know how we got there, but
that's okay, dude. I love it. I think I've seen that a lot where people will try to create more interest when the interest is more than sufficient to do business with one another.
Yep.
And anything overbearing or too much will come off as too good to be true. Like, what's the catch? And so when I was talking about pullbacks, the main thing I think I hit on, not necessarily pullbacks, but of just cons. Like I always say, cons convince, and it's transparency and trust.
Yeah. Right.
They're used to people trying to pitch them and sell them. Here's why it's good. Here's why it's good. I come out and say they both suck. It's like instantly different. Yeah,
that is good.
And, rather than telling why our thing is so good, I talk about why, through questions, why what they're doing might not be the best, right? Like, when's your utility bill paid off? Or when you make a payment, even if it's $40, does anything come back to you, right? Does it increase your home, right? And that gets them thinking, okay, cool. Then there's the pain. Then comes the desire for change once the pain's there. It's like, okay, cool. I don't know everything. So tell me, what can I do?
Yeah.
And so I've also noticed it's easier, Ashton, tell me what you think about this, of hitting hitting the ugly early. Like I noticed the sooner I beat them to certain objections, like the loan, things like that, the easier it is. Like, or if they beat me, I'm an hour into it, closing the deal, and I forgot to overcome something.
Yep.
My back's usually up against the wall.
For sure.
Can you overcome it? Absolutely. But then it's like, why didn't you bring this up?
Yeah.
It looks bad.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a real law, but I had somebody say the law of first disclosure. If you're the first to say it, if you're the first to bring it up, when somebody said, I don't like this thing.
Yeah.
Then it's because we're human and we want to be our word, even though we're not always the best at keeping our word.
Yep.
If they've said this thing,
beat you.
Then if they are convinced otherwise, then it's kind of against their word.
Yeah.
Right. So a masterful salesperson will always beat the person to what the anticipated objections are. Right. I think, and you can't always win that game.
Yeah.
Because you don't know all of everything that's going on. Right. But
in our program, we train our appointment setters up front to pull these out early and then pass the baton over to the consultant closer. And so that they go in knowing which objections I need to hedge right off the bat. And we have a checklist. We go through all of them, but like, okay, which ones do I need to really hit on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it helps with communication.
That's great.
Yeah. But I think there's a lot of, anticipation anxiety that sales reps have going into appointments, thinking, oh, I hope they don't ask me this question. Like, oh, don't ask about the loan. Don't ask about 25 years. Like, dude, if you just get it out there, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going off a big water slide out here, and I hadn't gone on in like 10 years. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude, I don't want to do this. It's just a drop off, And then once I'm falling, I'm like, this is awesome.
Just do it.
But the anxiety before is always so great, the anticipation anxiety. And so it's just take the plunge, beat them to it. Watch what happens. You'll feel better about yourself. Your self-conviction will go up. And then people will trust you more.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyways.
Yep.
That's one of my hot takes.
Love it.
I love it.
Dude, do you want to pivot? Yeah,
let's pivot. Absolutely.
So pre-show, we talked about a couple of things. You brought up balance. The things I get asked about the most is like, how do you do all the things?
Yeah.
And then also like, how do you sell 22 sales in a day? Right. Absolutely. We can go either of those ways, but I'm really, really passionate about a whole person paradigm stuff. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are. Yeah. Right. And I try my best to be a champion dad, a champion husband, champion churchgoer, champion friend, like I said, champion with my physical health, champion with my mental health. And it takes time. I had a guy send me a text message or an Instagram message that was super meaningful to me. He's like, do you ever have bad days? It just feels like you crush it all of the time. And that meant a lot to me because I always have, I have a lot of bad things happen.
Yeah.
And, but I choose, my mental game is that I choose to look at it as an opportunity, not as an obstacle.
Beautiful.
Right. But it's taken a lot of time, but I talk about and try to teach a principle about turning your brain on and off, just like a light switch. If I'm talking to somebody, if I'm with somebody, like last night, I went and I flew in so I could spend a little bit of time with my parents before going to our headquarters. And I put my phone in the room that I was staying in at like 7:30, which isn't that early. And then I spent unadulterated time with my parents, just like me and them.
Yeah.
Picking peaches, having some blackberries, sitting down, talking about the health of aunts and uncles and grandma and what's going on in everybody's life. And I spent 4 hours, no phone, no distraction, just me and my mom and my dad. And that 4 hours of no phone, and they had their phones, and that was okay. Every once in a while they would be peeking at stuff, but I was all in with them for a 4-hour time period. I live in San Diego. They live up here. I wish we were neighbors, man. I love my parents. But I gave everything I could for that time that I had. And it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And at 11:30, I missed a text from my wife, and I should have probably texted her and said, "Hey, I'm going to do this thing. Sorry." So I dropped the ball on that, but she also knew where I was, and she knew that was who I am, was I'm going to give it all I have. I am where I am. And there was some work texts that I missed, some emails that I missed, but guess what? I can totally get them to all of them now.
Yeah.
I can get to them today.
Yeah.
None of them were like, my house is burning down.
Correct.
I need you right this second.
Yeah.
And guess what? If the house was burning down and I wasn't answering the phone, they're calling 911.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going to make it back anytime anyways.
They're calling other people. Yeah. Right. And so too often I'm 100% sales commission, right? I make a sell, I make money. I respond to a text, I make money. And so I want to be a good service too. You send me something, hey, I want to show you I'm on top of it. I'm responding right away. I'm on it. Look at this relationship. This is a great relationship. This is building trust. And so many times we think that everything is a fire right in front of us.
Yeah.
And most things aren't. And so what I've decided over my years is that I'm going to flip switches on and off when they need to be turned on and off. My dad gave me an example years ago that that has stuck with me. He said to me once that he went into his boss, and the most important thing for the whole company was the conversation that they were going to have, and the information that my dad had that he was sharing with the boss, and the boss had that it was going to be right there. And then the boss got a phone call. This was pre-cell phone. So he has a phone call, and he picks up the phone and he answers the phone. And my dad's like, okay, yeah, I guess that must've been an important call. And it was whatever. And then he hangs up the phone, and then they get back into it. And then a few minutes later, he gets another phone call.
Oh gosh.
And he keeps getting interrupted. And then finally my dad is a little bold, and he says, hey boss, what we're talking about right now is actually the most important thing. We should not answer phone calls. We should not be thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
And maybe he didn't say we shouldn't be answering phone calls, but he was like, we shouldn't be thinking about anything else but this right now. This is actually the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I dare say that most of the time where we're at, where our feet are is the most important
100%.
thing,
yep.
Right? When I'm at the gym, it's so important for me to not respond to text messages. I leave my phone in the car.
Yeah. That's
right.
Awesome.
Unless I'm listening to music or a book or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And some people have their workout plans on their phones and whatever, but it's so easy to get a text message and want to reply to it.
Yeah.
And that's taken me off of me and my body right now.
Yeah.
Right. When I'm at church, I leave my phone and do not disturb. On Sundays, I've got to a point on Sundays, my phone's on do not disturb all day. Yeah. And I freaking love it.
Yeah.
It just fills me up.
Yeah.
It fills me up with God. It fills me up with my family. It is just me and them. And I'll look at my phone every once in a while, but like, and sometimes I'll get a text that all I need to say is yes or no.
Yeah.
And I don't respond.
Yep.
And the next day I'll often get a text from somebody be like, hey dude, are you there? I'm like, oh yeah, sorry dude. Sunday's the only day I don't work.
Yeah.
And now I've established a boundary with that person.
There you go.
So the next time they try to, oh wait, Ashton's not going to respond on Sunday. Or sometimes they'll text me on Sunday and be like, hey dude, I know you're not going to respond to this, but I just wanted to get this so that you can see it and talk to me Monday. Perfect. Right. Because that's become that opportunity for me to be all in on Sundays with my family. So where I feel like and again, it's taken a lot of time and a lot of like, is this really a fire? Is this really, really that important? Is a referral, dude, I need to jump on that quick, but guess what? A referral right now is probably going to be there in an hour.
Yeah.
While we're sitting here, right as you're setting up, a guy for the world championships in wrestling calls me, and I could have answered and you would have understood.
Yeah, I would have.
But I'm here with you.
Yeah.
And so I texted him. I said, hey, I'll call you in like an hour, maybe a little more.
Nice.
And he said, great. I don't know what he needs to talk to me about.
Yeah.
I'm submitting forms and whatever else to wrestle and all that. So probably about that. But I can probably wait an hour. It's not like I need to answer it right now because I'm here with you.
Right. Dude, it's just I mean, the whole thing is be present where you're at, whether it's church, family, home. Don't work at home. You're at work, don't bring home at work, and be dialed with the people. I think that's so special because, especially as salespeople, where you get used to checking your phone, calls, text, and even outside of salespeople, like this is a problem with society in general. We're just like notification
all the time,
and you're just looking and it's just dopamine, right? And you actually have more consistent dopamine and higher levels of dopamine if you don't. Like if you're focused at the gym. And I've noticed the days I've done it probably like 4 times this year where I've like taken a text and it didn't make me happy at the gym. What the text was, something going on in business. And I'm like, dude, why did I do that? And the days I just let it go, I have such a better day, and being present is a huge thing everyone has to learn. I'm still working on improving myself, but it's paramount.
Yeah.
It's paramount.
Yeah. And no one's perfect at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So as you go and something that I have talked to my kids about, I learned from a mentor a long time ago. This guy was a professional sales guy and he had 13 kids and I was a newly married guy. And he said, I was like, one, how do you have 13 kids, or why do you want to start having 13 kids or whatever? And he was like, no one starts wanting to have 13 kids. It was his response. But then I was real curious about being a good husband because I was a brand new husband. And in my mind, I'm like, how can you be a good husband with 13 kids? Yeah. It's just me and her right now, so it should be pretty easy, but tell me. And he said, listen with your eyes. And I feel like when I'm with my customers and I'm listening with my eyes, that they see I'm in it with them.
Yeah.
When I'm with my kids and girls, you've got boys.
Yeah, all boys.
I've got all girls. Girls specifically. Bro, when they're dancing, they're doing a little move, and then they check in to make sure dad's looking, and then they're dancing, and then they just keep going, and then they make sure that I'm in.
Yeah.
And if I'm like, and then they start dancing, and I go like this, and they catch me, dude. They know I'm not all in with them.
Yeah.
Right. And so he said, listen with your eyes. And anytime I have an opportunity, especially when my kids are dancing, dude, I am not picking up my phone, bro. I am in with them and I'm watching them. And I'm not kidding. They still do it as if I'm not going to look at them, just to make sure. Is he really watching? Like they want to make sure. And so that helps me when I'm where my feet are. I'm also not, I'm trying not to be distracted by other things. And sometimes I got to work.
Yeah.
I'm working from home. And my little 3-year-old wants to come play. Dad, will you come play Candyland with me? I would love to. I'd love to do that all day, every day, and just do that. But I need to do some things here. And sometimes she'll just stay, and I'll say, "Hey, I can't listen to you with my eyes right now. I can't look at you right now. But if you want to talk to me, you can." Or 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 8-year-old, 10-year-old that know a little bit different. I'll say that to them, and it's up to them then if they want to continue to talk. And have me listen, even though I'm not listening with my eyes, I'm not giving them my full attention or waiting. And sometimes I'll wait and sometimes they'll just keep telling me about their day or whatever. But having that helps me to make sure that I'm in, because when I'm with you and you see that I'm with you, that makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
For me and you're not seeing, if I'm texting and you're like, oh yeah, no, tell me about that. Uh-huh. Oh, really? Oh, no way. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's the worst feeling. Yeah.
That's
the worst.
Stop it.
Yeah. We do to prospects. I mean, most communication is nonverbal. Yeah. So we're wired to listen with our eyes.
Right.
What's communicated, and what's received is more of what we see,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's powerful, dude.
That's one of the ways that I've been working on making sure that I have balance, because I'm on when I need to be on.
Yeah.
Right. When it's church time, I'm at church.
Yeah.
When it's workout time, I'm working out. When it's date night with my wife, I'm on date night with my wife.
Yeah.
When I'm on a date with my kids, I'm on a date with my kids. Right. And a distracted 4 hours of knocking doors or calling prospects or however you get your sales, an undistracted 4 hours is worth
like
easily
16 hours.
It's of distracted time, right? Yeah. If guys are on Instagram looking at stories in between doors and checking these things out,
how detrimental.
Oh, it messes
being in
bad.
The zone. Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah.
I love this, dude. I love this. I mean, if somebody came in here is like, hey, we don't have kids or anything, it's like, dude, this still applies. For people who don't have family or kids, this applies. I mean, you have relationships in your life.
Yeah.
And you got to be present. And if you're not present, then like when you do get bigger relationships in your life, like spouse or kids, it's even more critical then. And you have to learn it at some time. But this transcends everything, dude. This is part of the reason you and I also sell well, is we connect well with people, and we know how to be present and listen and empathize and understand. And this is part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we actually care where we're at, what we're doing, and who we're serving. Right.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Not in it just for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that, Ashton.
Yeah. Good.
Well, dude, this has been awesome.
Do you want to talk about 22 in a day or no?
Yeah. Break it down, please.
Okay.
You have to. And save it best for last.
So, so the way that I did that is getting people bought in to me and into a competition.
Okay.
So a core belief that I have is that humans are good. And a core belief that I have is that I'm a good human.
Yeah.
I believe both of those things, like, to my core. And I believe that people want to help people. Like, I sincerely want to help you. And I bet you sincerely want to help me.
Yeah.
Just because that's just what good humans do.
Yep.
Right. And so I during sales competitions, I'm always getting people bought in to what it is that I'm doing. And I've been tempted, props to the Kirby vacuum guys, or to the magazine salespeople. They usually start their pitch with like, "Hey, I'm in this competition. We're trying to go to Hawaii. I need to get 50 signups. I'm at 22. Could you help me go to Hawaii?" There's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
Because some people will be like, "I don't really need that Sports Illustrated. I can get it all online, but if it'll help you get to Hawaii, yeah, okay, I'll do it." Right. And they'll sign up for stuff that they don't actually always need or want, but because they're trying to help somebody. And so I've legit been tempted to like carrying around like a Hawaii thing or something like as part of like my slicks, not knocking on the door and be like, "Can you help me get to Hawaii?" But like having that be a part of what I'm doing, because my biggest weeks, my biggest months were me getting people bought into me and into the competition that I was in.
Yeah. Them not knowing about the competition, but you're operating behind the scenes, the competition.
No, I tell them about the competition too.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't knock on the door and be like, "Hey, I'm trying to win a Tesla."
Right.
You know, I knock on the door. I do everything the same, but at the end of my close, whether they signed up or not, I'm asking for help. I'm telling them, and the phrase that I use, and this is, you can steal this if you want to use this. The phrase that I use is, I said, "Listen, this is not about me. This is about you. But let me tell you something that's going on with me." And then I tell them about it. So I'm in this sales competition. We're going, our teams are going against Orlando. They're the devil. We hate Orlando. They're no good. They smell bad. They don't brush their teeth, or whatever. Right. And I get them bought into Orlando as the bad guy. Mm-hmm. or individual competition. "Hey, I'm in this competition. I'm against this guy in New York. He's really, really good. I'm actually a couple sales behind and I could really use your help. So what it is da, 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 right? And can you help me?" And I'm a good human asking another good human for help. And what does another good human want to do for a good human?
Reciprocate.
Help.
Give it, yeah.
They want to help. And that doesn't always work, right? Because they may feel like, "Oh, this guy's just trying to, make some money and whatever." But when it does come as a sincere, like, "Dude, can you just purely help me? Like, I really want to win this car. I'll let you drive it for a week if I win it. Yeah. Like, can you just help?" Then people, again, from a good human to good human, they want to help. And so as I would ask that at the end, if they signed up or if they didn't sign up, if they didn't sign up and I asked for help, I got a bunch of referrals from people that didn't sign up. And guess what happens if you're giving a referral and you don't sign up? You eventually sign up.
Yeah.
Right. So that person that says, "Yeah, you should totally talk to my mom and my girlfriend or my cousin or my whatever, my coworker was talking about it."
Yeah.
They're going to eventually go solar because they would look kind of foolish for them, for their friend to be like, "So did you get it?" And they're like, "No, I didn't get it." Like, "Well, why didn't you get it?" "Well, I'm still talking to him."
So referrals are huge for you.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of it.
Yeah. Of those big weeks. Right. Yeah. And then, so the ones that signed up, obviously they're in, and then the other people, they would give me the referrals, but you talk about momentum.
Yeah.
If you want to have a big week, a big day, it doesn't start that week. It starts like 2 or 3 weeks prior. And it's not just that you're not sandbagging the deals either.
Right.
Right. That week I got 22 in a day. I got 46 in a week and 64 that month. Yeah. I had a great month.
Right.
Right. But I was getting my confidence going and my referrals going and my asking for help going. And then
the flywheel effect.
And then if anybody didn't sign up, I'd say, "It's not about me, it's about you. But let me tell you about something that's going on with me." And I know it doesn't, you've decided to sleep on it or wait on it, whatever. if we can just circle back, I know today's, it's Thursday. If we can circle up by next week by like, Saturday night at 11:59 p.m. I mean, not really, but really, yeah. That would be I'd be so grateful, because that's when it ends, and and I would get people bought into, well, let me follow up, and there's a deadline, right?
Yeah.
And there could be it's a real fact in sales that when you give people a deadline, and when you give people that this incentive goes away, that it does help people move their feet. But it was a deadline for help. Like, if you refer me to somebody after this, or if you sign up after this, I'm totally going to take care of you. Like, don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop selling after, whatever the deadline is, but it'd be really meaningful if you could do it before. And so when you do that enough, and then you get referrals, like, then to do 22 in a day or 16 self-gen a day. Last year I did 15 self-gens in one day, and I didn't leave my house except for to drive to the airport and jump on a plane. And I signed a deal while I was sitting on the plane at 10:20 at night. And it was like it was the best.
Were you closing all these virtual, or were they in house or
virtual? So they're people that I'd talked to previously. And again, I'm going into every sale wanting to close it that day.
Yeah.
But I know that that's not going to happen.
Right.
And so I'm still talking to people and nurturing people, and the fortunes in the follow-up. I get so many deals from following up, and lots of people don't.
Yep.
And I just keep following up and loving them and touching them and helping them understand, like, you're having touch points all along the way.
Yeah.
So those deals, most of those on that last year was all from my house. The first time I did 16 in a day, I think I sold like 3 or 4 in home.
Okay.
And then the 22 in a day, I think I sold two or 3 in home. But most of the other ones are calling them up. Hey, what do you think? Are you ready? Where are we at? What's going on? Who do you need to talk to? Right. And DocuSign. And sometimes I would go through the agreement with them. I'll go as far as they'd let me go. If they weren't ready yet, if they'd let me pull their credit, I'd do that. If we fill out financing forms, I'd do that. Right. I would do everything they would let me do, and except, I would try to sign them. But if they didn't let me sign them, I would do everything I possibly could. So that all that I needed to do was hit the DocuSign. You send this part, I'll sign my part, and
nice.
And away we go.
Simplified. Dude, so the process for your referrals, did you have them tee up an appointment? Did you do a 3-way text? How'd you have them introduced?
I'll take it as far as I possibly can in the moment.
Yeah.
Because a referral is worth so much more.
Like, get them on the phone.
Get them on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, so you think your mom would be interested? Why don't we call her real quick?
Yeah. Call her.
Why don't we call her, put her on speakerphone?
Yeah.
You can introduce me, and then I'll crack a joke about you being like a weird person or something. And then I'll try to set an appointment with them. Nice. Right. So if we can do a call right then and there, I'll do that.
Yeah.
If that doesn't work, okay, why don't you put me in a group text with them, and then you can introduce them, and then I'll jump in and I'll try to schedule an appointment. Right. So I just, again, similar to signing the deal, I'll go as far as they'll let me go.
Yeah.
In the moment to try to get the referral to the next stage.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So good, dude. There it is. 22.
There it is. 22.
It's wild, man.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Ashton, thank you for coming. Seriously, this has been so enlightening.
It's been great.
I've learned a lot myself, dude. And that's saying something with this. So
good.
That was some gold nuggets right there. Dude, what % of your volume of your deals did you close virtually versus in home? Like, what would you say?
Most of my volume is in home. Yeah. Most of it's in home.
Love it.
The only times that I'm virtual is if it's a referral a long ways away.
Right.
Right. If I'm in San Diego and I got a referral to somebody that's up in Oakland, California or something like that, then I'm just going to call them. Right. Yeah. Even most of my follow-ups are in home. The only time that it's not is in competition time. And I know I'm not going to have time, and I'm going to tell them, I'm just going to call you. Like, this is how this is going to go. Right. We've done all these things. So I don't need to come back. I'm going to call you. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, then I'm going to cry for you, but we'll try,
I love it.
So a very small percentage is virtual. Most of it's still in person.
Dude, so good. Well, bro, we've covered a lot from, referrals to, the drive of to compete, the power of competition, how to get people to work for you, in that sense. And, also how to be present everywhere you're at. Just beautiful. That transcends crushing in sales and transcends crushing in family. It's everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, Yeah, dude. So much value.
It's great, dude.
So good. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashton. I appreciate you for coming on. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed the session today.
Peace.
Peace.